Are you a professional pillow fighter? Or a 9-to-5 low-cost time travel agent? Or maybe real estate sales on Mars is your profession? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is you do, however complex or intricate, Monday.com can help you organize, orchestrate, and make it more efficient. Monday.com is the one centralized platform for everything work-related. And with Monday.com, work is just easier. Monday.com, for whatever you run. Go to Monday.com to learn more.
Well, I don't see the point in waiting any longer. So let's bring her out. The star attraction, the one you came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Miss Judy Gold.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is my first recording of 2019. Hopefully, the year we get rid of Donald Trump as president of the United States. I'm hoping.
From your mouth to God's ears.
That's right.
And
if
Gold.
I don't know if you recognize that voice, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Kill Me Now. Today's guest, I've been dying to have him on, and it's taken a while because he moved to fucking Los Angeles. Like an asshole. He's a trader. He was a New Yorker. I mean, actually, he grew up in New Jersey, as I did, and moved to the West Coast. He is the author of 4, almost 5 books. Well, the 5th book is coming out in spring.
April.
He hosted. First of all, he was the hilarious film critic for The Daily Show for many years. He's a stand-up comic. He is an amazing writer. His articles in the Times are fucking fabulous. A little tealous of that. And just because you're such a fucking good writer.
Thank you.
And he went to a fucking great school. I'm trying to figure out which fucking microphone is mine so I can lower it. Okay, there we go. And I'm just so... He's a gay! He's a gay!
I'm not a gay, I'm the gay! Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Frank DeCaro is here! Woo!
I love you, Judy Gold.
I love you. Frank, thank you so much for doing this. I know. What are you in town for?
I feel like I'm here more than I'm in L.A. these days. I was back for 52 days. 52
in a
row. And then I went to LA for 9, and then I came back again for Christmas. And so, yeah, it's been insane. I was doing some work with Lisa Lampanelli, the insult comic.
Yes.
And she is
she's not an insult comic anymore.
No, former.
Right.
Former, thick. She's a thick.
Right.
Okay. And but she is doing storytelling and other things. So we went into rehearsal for that. Then we performed it a few times. Then we did some other stuff. Then it was Thanksgiving. Then it was something else.
Right.
Meeting.
Where do you stay when you're here?
I have a house in New Jersey.
You do? You have your
home.
childhood house where we start every interview with the childhood.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because I'm fascinated by children's childhoods. By people's I'm sorry, I have a fucking cold. The amount of snot in my nose. This is my kill me now for today. I can't. Like last night, I'm laying on the bed and it's like I can't breathe through my nose, but I can't breathe through my mouth because if I breathe through my mouth, it gets really fucking dry, and it's making noises. Do you ever get a cold where it starts going?
Yeah, and it sounds like there's like a swinging door in your nose, and then it clicks like a clamshell.
Right.
And, it's horrible.
And you rub your eyes, and then it's like, I can't fucking take... Anyway. And you're dizzy.
No one complains better than you.
I know, thank you.
Say.
Here's the other thing that I've noticed with my sinus, with this clogged up. Like, I'll get up, and I'll get up from the couch to throw something in the garbage, and then I'm out of breath.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck is that?
It's the cold. It's not our age or anything. It's the cold.
Good.
So definitely that. But it's and you and I are almost exactly the same. We're
right.
both in
We're
November,
9 days.
Too.
We're 9 days apart. You're older than me. You look it.
I feel it.
Yeah.
So,
so Frank DeCaro, you grew up not far from me in New Jersey.
Yes.
Little Falls. Is it
Little Falls?
Yes.
Petite Falls.
Where?
Yes.
What exit? I know. I hate that.
153B. If you want to know.
I was 135.
See, that's probably a better name. What town were you?
Clark.
Oh, Clark. See, I'm sure it's nicer. See, when we drive down, we always do, because every time I see a sign, I make up a story that goes. So Clark Westfield is a guy who he dated a woman from Massachusetts named Marion Rochester.
Oh, that's nice. Clark
Westfield. He dated Marion Rochester from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
No, I always make up stupid stories when we're driving, so you don't want to ride with me.
Right.
I talk.
But it's also that whole roadway. I mean, I hate when people are like, what exit? But literally it is, if you live in New Jersey, the Garden State Parkway is the fucking road to life. You know what I mean? It is the way to get to the shore. Like, it's really a way to say, where the fuck are you from? And
it's true.
Right.
153B. No, Little Falls. And I grew up there, and when I left for college, I'm never coming back. I live in my childhood home now.
That's very interesting, because I can never... well, thank God my mother sold it. But, so you were born... I
was born here.
In New York City, and then your family moved to Little Falls. Now, did you have a big house?
It's about a 3-bedroom, very
modest.
That's good. What do they call it? A raised ranch.
Right. Okay.
A bi-level, not a split level, a bi-level.
And very Italian family. Oh, yeah. Like very Italian.
Not as Italian as you'd think, but yes. Italian taste. More than
so like plastic.
No plastic, but purple. We had purple bullion fringed couch.
Wow.
And gold leaf cherub head side tables.
Yes. I remember those.
Those were good, and like pastoral figural lamps of like here's a lamb
you're in Milan
thing. A lot of that crap. And then there's that. So now it looks like Palm Springs.
So I grew up, my neighborhood was all Jewish and Italian. So I grew up next to the Antonellis and the Di Savino. So, and the Antonelli's house smelled like bacon and sausage all the fucking time. And I fucking loved going over there. But so your father was like a blue collar worker, right? Or
somewhere between blue and he was one of those guys who while you're sitting working on a story in a newsroom, it helps you do something and you don't even pay attention and never learn their names. Right. That's what I realized, and I felt like a horror when I realized that. It was like he was that level of thing where he helped other people who had real careers, and so he had a job.
Like editorials?
No, he wasn't even in a newspaper. I mean, but he was just like the guy that you don't notice. He was that guy that you kind of don't learn their name. The company
doesn't run without them, but you don't know who the fuck they are.
That was my dad.
Okay.
As far as I can tell. But he worked in Little Falls, and he grew up, and I drive past, when I get off the highway, I drive past the house he was born in.
No way.
Yeah, it's very strange.
And then what about your mom?
She was from the next town over, and she was, the more I think about it, the more extraordinary both of them were. Because he not only went to Europe and drove a tank through Europe during World War II.
Right.
Fighting Nazis, as Mel Brooks would say. And then my mother actually had her own business. My mother had her own beauty salon.
Wow.
And I was like, the more I thought about it, I was like, my mother had a beauty salon with her name in neon in the window.
No fucking, what was the name of it?
Marianne's. She was Marian, but it was
Marianne's. Where was it?
In Patterson, New Jersey.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so she was
what years?
I don't quite know, but I'm guessing late 40s and 50s probably.
So was she good at it?
She gave me bad perms, but I think she was good for ladies.
Perms were good. They were
that's
like
why I'm
major.
bald now, but
she's rolling over in her grave right now with your fucking
The
hair.
only thing she got mad about that I ever said about her was I said in a reading, I said my mother wasn't a good cook.
You can never tell an Italian woman. That is like the fucking kiss of death. You
know what she said at a reading? It was a very important reading of my first book. She said, "Oh yeah, you got from the front row. Oh yeah, you got that fat because you didn't. I'm a bad cook."
I love her.
Mary. Oh, she was a pistol.
I love her. And that was
think having her own business at that time.
That's amazing. Look, did you watch the Golden Globes last night? Right,
I did.
We're recording this right after the Golden, and that Glenn Close. I mean, when she said, "I want to be,"
I'm sorry,
but when she said, women should be able to say, "I want to do that," and I should be able to do that, like that. That was really powerful.
Oh, I loved her speech. All about.
I thought her speech was amazing.
That was really the high point,
right? And also saying, like, my mother, was this woman who was just doing everything it was all about her husband and had no fucking life.
Would she use the word? She say sublimated her dreams?
Yes,
she said something along those lines, and it was like, what a terrible thing to have to do, especially for those of us who are either have you have both a family a true family of children and that whole thing, and which is such a huge responsibility. I don't have that, but it's like, I never had to give up my dreams for stuff. I'm still, people are like, oh, what are you going to do when you retire? Retire? I want to work more.
First of all, I know I'm never retiring. My brother's like, you got to really plan. He's a CPA and actuary. You got to really plan. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. If I have nothing to do, I'll be fucking dead. Okay, dead. So that was my brother, Jubel. This is the Jubel, as you know, may or may not know. Anything remotely Jewish gets a ring. So
I saw an everything croissant. Does that count today? When I was looking at what to eat,
like an everything. You know what?
That doesn't get it.
No, you know why?
Why?
Because these bagels that they fucking ruined, like they have a blueberry bagel, like that's a fucking no.
That's almost a donut.
And the everything bagel is shit. What is it? It's like garlic, onion, salt, poppy seeds. Yeah, it's just like it's enough already.
I do think though that the Trader Joe's the everything but the bagel seasoning is about the greatest thing ever. You put it on anything. You put it on
like toast, what do you put it on?
Toast, a baked potato, anything.
Really?
It's good.
All right, I'll give it a half.
Give it a half. Okay, that's for
so.
Trader.
All right, so you grow up. You're an only child. Was there a reason you were an only child?
Yes. Okay, get this. So my mother, 43. Marion, my mother, is 43. She goes into the hospital to have a tumor removed. She had a melon-sized tumor removed. They're always melon-sized. So that was.
And how long were your parents married at this point?
11 years.
Okay.
10, 11 years. And she goes in. They take the tumor out. And they look, as one is wont to do, I guess, and they said, Mrs. DeCaro, you're pregnant.
No, how pregnant was she?
Fairly along, as I take it. And I think so they closed her back up, and I finished cooking, and then the turkey timer went off. They took me out again. So same scar, So
the tumor
was not me. The tumor
but they took it out.
There was a fibrous, non-malignant thing. They take the tumor out. I'm hiding behind it in the shade. They're having a nice time. And you know what? I've been starved for attention ever since. I was like, would someone pay attention for me?
So do you think that they were like, for 11 years, like, why the fuck am I not pregnant?
They had 3 miscarriages. I may be their 4th. I don't know. But yeah.
The tumor was probably the miscarriage.
Maybe I ate it. Knows? I don't know. No, but they had 3 3 miscarriages over the years, and they just thought, well, that's it. And so they were the best aunt and uncle, that kind of thing. And then they had me. And so they were 40 and 43, which is why I have the sensibilities of a 90-year-old.
That's the same. Yeah. So that's the other thing we have in common, because my mother was 41. 48. My father.
Your mother.
Oh, thank you.
I think I know her only through your stories.
Oh, yes. Thank you. She was hilarious.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, the best.
The best.
And don't you miss the material? My father.
Oh my God,
my father's
I
gone. It's like I had such good material from him.
I know. I still do her on stage.
Good. Nothing made me happier than because I ate a grape when you talk about when
she had the home health aide there.
I ate a grape.
She took a raisin. She used the phone. She sat on the sofa. Just fucking complaining, and I'm like, Ma, shut the fuck. I mean, all right. Anyway, so we both have elderly parents.
Yeah. So you and I were basically we were in, and if young people are listening to this, there were not channels dedicated to our age demographic.
Right.
What they watched, we watched. So if they're watching Dean Martin and the Gold Diggers, we're watching.
My mother,
Dean Martin and the Gold Diggers.
My mother before she died, I asked her who she would have married, and if she hadn't married my father, and she said Dean Martin. But Lawrence Welk. Did you watch Lawrence Welk?
Yes.
Yeah, and like...
Good night, sleep tight, and pleasant dreams to you. Here's a wish and a prayer that every dream comes true. Hey! Okay. So, I loved it.
And now till we meet again. Here's adios. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Good night. Oh my God. And they were probably like Nazis. You know what I mean? They were so...
Sure.
They were so religious. Like, and can I tell you something? I have never told anyone, but when I go on the road and like I'm in a hotel room and I put on like public accent or like some local,
whatever's on,
and I will sit and watch Lawrence Welk. And they do those little things where they're like, I remember when I met blah blah blah, and they're all like really overly Christian, and like it's like a fucking cult.
And yet we love
wonderful.
They would
I loved it.
Bring in Norma Zimmer, the champagne lady of song, and I loved it.
I loved it.
But we watched. We were like 6 or 7. We're watching Laugh-In, and I remember them. Okay, Maude. Remember
Maude? Oh my God! Yes.
The I had to explain the manic depressive episode to my parents, and I think I was 9. Okay, it was like
my mother was kind of hip. So I didn't have,
Well, there was a joke where Maude was going to, they were talking about her being impulsive.
Right.
And it ends, and they say, let's go upstairs. And she whispers, and they start clearing off the kitchen table.
Right.
And I had to explain, I said, they're going to do it on the kitchen table.
Right.
And my parents were like, that is not what that means. And I said, no, it really is. And I was like 9. It's terrible.
So you have elderly parents like me. But here's the thing about having old parents.
Dead parents.
Right. I have dead parents now. But the thing about having old parents, like I didn't know. Like, it took me a while to realize, my parents are way older. They're 20 years older than everyone else's parents.
But they had lives. And, if I were to have I mean, right now, if I had children when my parents did, I would have a 13-year-old.
Right.
You know, and so it's sort of like the idea of being this age and having a 13-year-old.
I have a 17-year-old.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh my God, I don't know if I could do it.
Right.
But but you had your own, you had a life and have a life, but you were able to sort of build that up. Can you imagine having a kid at 20?
No.
I mean, it's like, well,
no.
I didn't
Elisa,
imagine having,
her
I could
mother was
imagine hair
21.
at 20.
I know. I look at 21-year-olds now. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I know. I hated it that they were old. And then I was like, I'm lucky because they had good values.
Values. They were secure. We didn't know we didn't have a lot of money. We didn't want for anything. I got every toy I ever asked for.
Right. Well, you're an only child.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
I got everything.
We had a garden.
Like
My father had a huge vegetable garden, and I remember my grandmother was born in 1896, and
1898 for my grandmother too. Isn't that weird? We have
I know.
We have people.
And I remember her. She lived till I was 25.
Yeah.
And she used to cook, and I remember the sifter. She had a sifter, and you turned it was just like, I can't believe that it's 2019 and I remember that shit, My
mother, I'm on my second Boston Terrier now.
Right.
I love my dog, and I had a Boston before. And when I was thinking of getting my first dog, Herman, my mother said, you should get a Boston Terrier. And I said, should I have one when I was a kid? And it dawned on me, my mother had a Boston Terrier when they were new, okay?
Right.
Their first vogue was in the 20s.
Wow.
That's when my mother danced the Charleston when it was new.
Right, exactly.
So, that's a weird thing to be sitting here and not be that old and still have this link to it. But I love that now.
Right.
But it does make you feel sometimes where you want to punch a millennial.
Right.
When you have kids, so maybe you
horrible.
are allowed to. But no, it makes me crazy because it's like, if I have to know who Post Malone is, you have to know who Dorothy Malone is. Okay?
Right.
That's the rule. That's my rule. Okay.
I haven't finished Mrs. Maisel. I'm only on the second episode of the second season.
Are you in that? Did you do it?
No, of course not. First of all,
somewhere.
This is what I fucking can't believe. Oh, Mrs. Maisel.
Okay.
I have never been on Orange is the New Black, and I've never been on Mrs. Maisel.
You should be on both of them.
Right. Like, I don't get it.
And you know what? I should have had my third logo series canceled by now. So,
it's just
like,
unbelievable.
It's the way it goes.
It's like so. All right. So when I watch this, these scenes in the apartment, and I look around, it's like I'm at my grandmother's apartment. Like, I remember the phone like that. I remember the blankets like that. I remember I could go back there and be completely fucking fine without our fucking phones and fucking computers. Okay.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with Auto Quote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
So you're an only child.
Yes.
When do you realize I'm different?
Oh, I think, when did I? Well, the kids figured it out before I did. Did you have that happen? It was just, the kids were very kind in calling me a fag every day.
Right.
What age? 6th grade. So was that?
Oh, so that's
like 11.
Okay, yeah. I'm talking before that. Did you have any?
I felt strange, but I didn't know it was that weird.
Right.
Because
so
I was like playing with my, nothing was better than a Poochie scarf of my mother's,
right.
And we'd let's go shopping and I'll wear, you tie the scarf around your neck and then tie it in the back. So, you're with the big sunglasses.
Right.
That's what ladies look like in the 60s.
Right.
So I would play that. And then
I would go home and I'd put on, as you know, for my act, my father's clothes until everyone got home, and then I put them back. But I wanted to mow the lawn. They're like, "Oh, do you want to help cook?" No, I want to mow the fucking lawn. I want to shovel the fucking snow. I had like a car, those tracks, and you could play Hot Wheels down in the bay. Like, I was such a fucking guy,
Is tomboy, are we allowed to say that?
Yeah,
anymore?
You can say tomboy. Okay.
I wanted to give dinner parties. I did. I wanted to be like not so slim Keith,
right.
I think, or something, and run around and give.
But it was, it's like we didn't know what it was.
No,
that's
I didn't
the
know.
thing.
I just thought it was fun.
I think kids now know what it is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And also, it's like if your kid. This is for parents. If your son wants to play with the washing machine. I had a Susie Homemaker washer. No one does laundry in our house ever but me. It's like I do all the laundry.
Wow.
I am fantastic. I am a pre-treater. Like there's no.
That's so good. I need someone to do my fucking laundry.
Encourage them to do something. Meanwhile, I won't cut the lawn. I'm not going outside.
Oh, I love that shit. Oh my
house.
God. Fucking raking leaves. Hot. All right.
Remember Fran Lebowitz said, she said, nature is what I pass through going from my apartment into a cab. That's the way I feel. I was like, I don't want to be in the nature.
So, okay. So were you popular in school? Like,
I had friends, but I always had like misfit. We were the island of misfit toys, so I had friends, but they were always weird, and most of them turned out to be gay. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember in college one summer we called it the summer of 42 because after that summer my father was like, Judith, the summer of 42 is over, because he knew that we were all like just I guess fucking and smoking, whatever. And I remember that everyone came out. Everyone was like, I'm gay. So am I. So it was so fucking interesting.
I had a kindergarten lesbian. I had a middle school or Sunday school. I had a Sunday school homo.
Right.
Then I had a disco queer in high school.
Right.
In grammar school, who didn't go to the same high school. We used to just be pals after school. And then high school, I had a boyfriend.
Right.
So yeah, it was like one dirty queer after another of every stripe. It was fun.
Right.
I loved it.
But then you don't realize what's wrong until you're like an adolescent and you're like, oh.
Well, there was one kid who picked on me a lot. And you know what? I got that thing everybody wants. He actually apologized to me after my first book came out.
Are you fucking kidding me?
He called me and apologized. And he said, I was on so many drugs I don't remember anything I did, but I probably did everything you said I did in your book.
That's so nice. Have you gone to a high school reunion?
Oh, I go to them whenever I can.
No, never.
No, I
hated high school so much. I hated it so much.
I didn't like it, but so this is a stupid thing in my life has been like this. It's like I'm called a fag every single day of school.
Right.
I finally get a boyfriend in like junior year.
Yeah.
I'm in the play in Bye Bye Birdie, the Paul Lynde part. Couldn't be any gayer.
Right.
Make everybody laugh. When does it stop calling me a dirty fag? When I have a boyfriend and I'm playing Paul Lynde in a school musical. When I'm really a dirty queer, that's when they stop calling me one. It's like up until then, I didn't know what I was. I wasn't doing anything sexual at all.
It's so weird that they know before. What's their fucking family? Yeah. So how did your parents deal with your homosexuality?
It was bad at first.
Yeah.
Was your weird folks good? Mine were terrible at first.
No, they weren't horrible. Like my father asked, I kept it a secret for a while. They fucking knew. Like, I'm a parent. Let me tell you something. You know. And I'm constantly saying to my kids, like, don't you think you're a little gay? Like, please be a little gay, but they're so fucking straight and annoying. Anyway, but no, they were not that horrible. My mother did when she found out, because my father had asked me and I was like, no, I don't know what you're talking, because it was early in the morning and I just didn't want to talk about it. And when my mother found out, she goes, why did you lie to your father? like
two dings for Ruth.
Why did you lie to your father? And then she's like, you're the reason I get depressed and stuff because of that. I said, Mom, I'm the happiest one of your kids, so shut the fuck up, okay?
It's on a scale. Okay. Were they horrible? Did they say horrible things? Yes. Did they do horrible things? No.
Right.
They didn't take me out of college.
Right.
They didn't kick me out of school. What did they say? They didn't throw me out of the house. My mother was like,
how did they find out?
I was real depressed. I was dating this guy in high school.
Right. What was his name?
Kenneth.
Jewish?
No.
Oh. Kenneth is a Jewish name.
Yes, no. Really smart, though.
Really?
Like doctor.
What did he end up?
He's a biostatist epidemiologist. That's what
really.
I've had two loves in my life.
Are you still in?
We text. He just moved. Yeah, we text.
Really? Does Jim get a little jealous?
No. Why should he be jealous?
Because fucking Elisa gets so jealous. It's like, Elisa, what the fuck?
It's also I don't really if I think about my high school boyfriend, I get nostalgic for being young. I don't get I don't want him now. What am I going to do with him now?
Exactly.
What would he do with me?
Does he have a boyfriend?
His husband. Yeah, he's on his second husband. The first one was a mess. Oh, that first one was horrible. Anyway, but this one's all right. But I'm Jim is very confident because he knows I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
Inertia, and I love him. So it's both. It's like not only do I not have the energy to leave, but I wouldn't want to anyway.
So anyway, how do they figure it out?
Okay, no, I told my mother. So
how old are you at this point?
I'm 16 and I just turned 17. So
right.
I just turned 17.
And just for the listeners, 16 in New Jersey in the 70s.
In 1978 or 9.
Okay, not a good. Like I really thought, because I was already fooling around. that if anyone ever found out, my life would be over. Like it was just the worst thing that could ever happen. Well, didn't you feel that?
I think I probably did. Now I've romanticized it into thinking I'm getting out of here, so it doesn't matter. But we were kind of bold about it. I have to say, we did. We made out like in the van on the way back from senior cut day.
No fucking way.
Yeah, we did. It was bad. Our dates were driving.
You made out in the car?
A little. Not a lot. We didn't go.
Oh, my God. Okay.
We didn't go to third or anything.
Right.
But no, I didn't let him under my sweater. No, it was, we were a little bit bold. I think we were like, we're never coming back here. So let's go. What do we care? So, but anyway, when we did that classic thing, we had sex. And the next day he said, we can't do that ever again. And it was like my favorite thing I'd ever done.
Was he religious?
No, but he freaked out.
Okay. And you cried?
I was miserable. Oh, I was terrible. And I got more and more depressed. And my mother said, you can tell me anything. And then I told her.
Well, she noticed you were depressed.
She noticed I was depressed. And
what music were you playing during this period?
Probably
like
Captain Fantastic and the Brown Door Cowboy. It was all Elton John stuff.
Okay.
Everything was Elton John.
Yeah.
And so I said to my mother, finally, when she said, you can tell me anything. And I said to my mother, I'm in love with Kenneth, and you have to help me get him back.
Wow.
And she said, and I say this in my stand-up all the
time.
Can
I do you and then you do her?
Sure.
I'm in love with Kenneth, and you have to help me get him back.
Now I have to put my face in shit. That's what my mother said. Was that good? So yeah, I know it was like a.
And were you like, oh my God, I thought I trusted you? And...
I was like, you said I could say it. I was upset, but now I joke when I do stand up. I always say it's like, wait a minute. So I'm gay, so my mother has to do German porn.
Right.
So, so anyway, yeah. So it was bad. And then my father was, when I came out to him a few months later, my father said, if I'd have known you were going to be like this, I'd have killed you at birth.
No fucking way.
Yep. And now
this
it's
is
on.
What I think that this is shit we have to talk about.
Yeah.
Because, you
don't say that to your only son.
Never.
He didn't mean it. I know that.
Right.
I knew
it's about them.
Then.
It's not about you. It's about them.
And it's also about society telling them you're not going to have a happy life. You're never going to have grandchildren. Well, they didn't have grandchildren, but they had
we weren't represented. We were never
know.
represented on television, anywhere.
No, a happy queer was not something we got to see. And then we came along and we're just like, oh, this is going to be fun.
But did they act like they were surprised?
Yeah, they pretended they were surprised. Well, they acted like they were surprised because I think they were hoping against hope. But there was that feeling
But you were dressing, you were like...
I was doing everything but being a drag queen. And I think if I'd had more confidence, I would have.
Right.
But if it seemed like an option and it wasn't so hairy, I probably would have tried it. But no, I was very flamboyant. And there's a picture of Elton John. It's so funny. There's a picture of Elton John in a walk-in closet.
Right.
And there are hundreds and hundreds of pair of shoes. And he's wearing satin, like volleyball shorts and knee-highs and ridiculous glasses with rhinestones and the whole thing. And there's this picture. And that photo is who I wanted to be. That's like...
Right.
And you know what?
I know that photo.
I kind of am that photo now, And so I kind of did... minus the fame and money. But I have lots of shoes and lots of clothes. And but yeah, it's weird. I wanted to... People... Remember when we were kids, people say... This would drive me crazy. I don't know if there's a lesbian equivalent, but they would say, when we were growing up, all we saw were Liberace and Elton John, and that made me want to kill myself. It's like, you know what? Liberace and Elton John made me not want to kill myself. That was like, well, look at them. I could go be that.
I went to the Liberace Museum with my parents.
I took mine too.
Oh my God, Vegas. I fucking loved it. You know what's great about the Liberace Museum? Well, it's not there anymore.
But
were the women who worked there who would not admit he was gay. They thought he was so good with the ladies. Okay, so you're a great student.
Yeah, I was a really good student.
And you got
You had to be too, I'm guessing.
I was a good student, yeah. But I didn't do well on my SATs. I cannot take tests. I overthink every question. I'm like, well, this has some truth in it. And I was like, and I spent 4 hours. I know. It's fucking annoying. Anyway, and you end up going to Northwestern, which is an amazing school. I'm going to give it a thing because there's a lot of Jews.
That's where I met Jews for the first time. Ding, ding. Yes.
I can't believe it. Did you go? Now, when you were growing up, did you go to the city to see shows or anything like that?
I started when I was 13.
Right.
So meanwhile, I just saw a chorus line redone at the city center.
How was it?
Oh, it was amazing. But
Are they doing it again?
No, I don't know if it'll transfer anything. I know, but I looked at it, and so I went and found
I
went and found my playbills. I was 13 when I saw that, and I'm laughing at I didn't steal anything. I broke into people's houses. I didn't steal anything. I just rearranged the furniture. I was laughing at all of the gay jokes at 13. And I was like, oh my God, it's like even
Can
then
you believe I threw out all my playbills?
No.
Yeah.
See, I don't throw anything away, so it's good.
Right, I had to because I can't.
Because
my head.
you're an adult.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm never going to do that.
So, it was so good at City Center.
It was really, but here, but talk about a mind fuck. It's like I was 13 watching it.
Right.
Which made me about half the age of everyone on stage the first time.
Right.
Now I'm 30 years older than everyone on the stage now. And so you're sitting there watching it, and I wept through the entire performance.
I think I would have cried. I think I would have cried. I did that at Pippin. I started crying. Couldn't take it.
I got all messy during Sunday in the Park with George too.
Oh, I bet.
Just keep moving on.
Right.
Yeah, because where we're at in our lives now.
Yeah, but it's also like you remember these shows and how you'd listen to them and be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna be, and like they would get you through these like horrible times, and now you think back like, wow, I was so innocent then, and it. Ugh.
Well, the hard part for me, and I was thinking about this, I'm doing this and then going to therapy, so it's basically hours of therapy today. But it's like there's so many things. There was a point where I was on The Daily Show and I was really depressed about something, and I thought to myself, if I was on TV, I wouldn't feel like this, and I was like, schmuck, you are on TV.
Right.
It's like, and so I have to remind myself, it's like, there are moments where I think, I wish I had if I had a talk show, I'd have been really good. It's like, schmuck, you had a talk show for 12 years. It's like, it wasn't on TV at 11:30 at night the way you wanted it to be.
Right.
But you had a national talk show for 12 years.
Right.
It's like, who gets to do that? Who listens to someone for 12 years?
There's always something you want something else. Yes. Okay, so you get into Northwestern.
Yes.
Now, here you
are. And
I
bought $100 jeans that day, which was a lot of money.
$100 in 1980?
I spent $103 on a pair of ball baggy jeans the moment they accepted me, and I went to Macy's and bought these ridiculous Italian imported jeans.
Wow.
$103 was a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. That's like 600, 700, 800.
I don't know what it was, but that piggy bank that poor thing got broken.
Now you get into Northwestern, which is it's like an amazing school, and your parents are not college educated.
No, my mother didn't finish high school.
Right. And do they have any idea, like, oh my God, my kid's going to one of the best journalism schools in the fucking country?
I don't know if they knew it quite like that. They were kind of. My father's relationship to anything college oriented was not great. Because my father, if I bought my father khakis, he would go, "Oh, what am I, college boy? I got to wear these pants, college boy." And if you bought him like a pair of penny loafers, that would be it. It would just be like, "Are you in?" He'd wear a navy blazer, but he was a little more sharper Italian American kind of.
Right. Do you think he was in the mob?
No, we'd had more money if he was. We got nothing. But he knew people. His
New Jersey. It's like I grew up.
His brother was a little bit connected, and I have one cousin,
a little bit country,
but no, my dad wasn't, and my dad did finish school and was a good, he was the first one to finish high school. His parents were illiterate, so that's kind of a big deal for him.
Did they come up from Italy? Okay.
They were. My grandfather worked in a quarry and stuff like that, and so my dad going to high school was a big deal, and then for me to go to college was a huge deal.
Right.
But I don't know if they really realized it, but it was so different. And I got to college, and my college roommate, we were in a quad. Remember, you get four people in 2 rooms with a bathroom in between. So my one of the 4 roommates, his father tried to buy the Philadelphia Phillies.
No fucking way. He was that rich?
Yeah, and I said to him, do you know the most expensive thing my father ever bought? A used Cadillac Coupe de Ville. I said, that's the most expensive thing my father ever bought.
You're going from... like
Blue
little
collar, New Jersey
to Richie Rich, Jews, really smart. Like, what was that transition like? But were you like, oh my God, this is where I belong, or was it like, oh my God, I'm a fraud?
No, it was. The fraud came later.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's now.
Yeah.
No, I was just like, I'm getting the hell out of here. No, I was very. Gung ho for being upwardly mobile. No, I was like, I got to get out of here, and mostly because it was never about money for the sake of money, but it was like the stuff I wanted to do was go to the theater, beautiful restaurants, travel to Europe,
gay sex,
is a little bit of stripping, yes, and have a nice home and give dinner parties. That's what I always wanted to do.
Like, I wonder, you're dealing at a different class level than your parents. So when you come home, is it like what is that like?
It was it was rough because my father would argue with me and he'd say, he taunt me and say, you don't belong at, people like us don't belong at Bloomingdale's.
Right.
And I'd look at him and I'd say, then I'm going to Bergdorf Goodman. Because I was like, you're not stopping me.
Right.
But you really do have to be sort of Madonna-esque in your drive to get what you want.
Did you feel guilty? Like, oh my God, I wish my parents had this opportunity? Or
no, but I tried to take them along and that was the mistake. Because you kind of have to appreciate them for who they are instead of trying to turn them into what you want them to be.
Right.
But I do think for a gay kid, when you're not the son I wanted you to be. It's like, well, you're not the Kennedys either. You know what? It would have been nice if you'd been the Kennedys.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, but you're not. So that's the way it goes.
So did your roommates know you were gay?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And the cutest thing was I immediately got there and hung up a picture of a poster of Tim Curry in fishnets, from Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing up. And then the girl who was dating the guy who was father tried to buy the Phillies, said, "Oh my God, my roommate has the same poster that you do. You guys should date." And so, so when we got fixed up, and the girl who also had the Rocky Horror Picture Show poster
is a big lesbo.
No, she wasn't a big lesbo. She was fag hag deluxe. Right. So it was perfect. So she came to my door New Student Week, and it took me to see Iggy Pop in a really run down, like a basement club.
Right.
And Iggy was tearing those acoustic ceiling tiles out and throwing them at the audience. It was a shitty little club you could have been killed in.
Right.
And it was so much fun. And she came to the door all punked out, and she kind of looked like a character out of a John Waters movie.
Right.
And I was in love.
Right. Are you still friends?
We were for a long time, and then we parted ways.
This week's episode of It's Judy Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself. You can process and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it and you sit there and you wait, and then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome.
You do well at school. What do you?
Yeah, I did, but not like I could at high school. I was the valedictorian.
Right.
It's like it was easy.
What?
Ding, ding. Almost Jewish, yeah.
See, how did I not know that?
I was like, where would you read that? You have to sit with me for 5 minutes and I'll tell you.
You were the valedictorian. Like, weren't your parents fucking freaking out?
That was a big deal for them. They liked that a lot. And I talked about having friends and lovers and in my speech.
No way.
I did. And then I read Elton John songs. And I also did Paul Lynde when I got up because the kid before me who was picked on, we were friends because he was like, oh, good. Well, you're picked on more than I am. You win.
Right.
He was the one that was the most picked on. And he was nerdy. He was a great guy and very smart, but he was very nerdy. And so they picked on him even more than they picked on me because he was like me, but not funny.
Right.
And So he lost the crown. You know that you lose. Bobby still that joke about Lucy. You're losing him.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, but so yeah, he lost the crowd, and I got up and I thought, what the hell am I going to do?
Right.
And I got up and I was in front, on the football field in front of the whole town, you know. And I said my line from Bye Bye Birdie. I looked at it and I said, I've got a wonderful wife, 2 swell kids, a good job, and now this. So
did they laugh?
Oh, they howled. Yeah. So it was good. But then I gave this big impassioned speech.
Good.
But I was writing.
Did you come out?
No, but I was writing essays. You know, like why Anita Bryant was horrible in English
fuck
class.
her.
You know, but it's like when I look back on it, it's like Jesus. Could you? You know, if I had a dick in each end, I wouldn't have been gayer.
The constantly getting picked on. Like every fucking day I walked into school. It's every fucking day from the minute I got out of the car. It's like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Orca, Bigfoot, and it's just like. To this day, when someone says Bigfoot, like I have PTSD. Like I can't even hear someone say Sasquatch. You know what I mean? It's so fucking unnerving. I want to do a show where we reunite high school kids with their bullies.
I thought about that. No, I
wouldn't that be a good show?
I always thought about doing that, and it's the guy apologized to me.
Yeah, I know
so
you're so lucky.
Nice,
I had a group.
You know, he was the ringleader, and it was rough because. You forget what it's like when leaving that house every day.
Right.
Is traumatic. It's no wonder we still have trouble leaving the house now.
I have morning problems.
Yeah.
In the morning, I remember the alarm going off and being like, oh no, I have to fucking deal with this shit. I can't. And I couldn't even walk down my street. They would be screaming from the fucking neighbor's house like Claude, Bigfoot. I was like, oh, really?
I remember in art class, I made this 3D monogram F, this big F. And I painted it, and it looked like it was very HR Puffin stuff. It was like day glow colors, and it had things sticking off in the whole thing. And I get it up, and the teacher loved it, and she held it up, and some kid from the back yelled, "What's the F for? Faggot?" And everyone howled, and you're just like, and
what did the teacher do?
She yelled at them, but what are they going to do?
Right.
And you can't stand up for yourself because then you admit you are one.
Right.
So yeah, it was horrible. That was 8th grade, and it was like that was very typical kind of experience. So you're like, oh, good, you just shit on everything I just did.
Right.
So and that is very scarring, and you take that into your adult life. But I was lucky enough to say, oh, I'm going to sell this all back to you. I'm going to make my career being the.
I always had this thing in the back of my head like, I'm fucking so much better than you and you're gonna fucking pay for this, because I wanted to be drum major, and I had to, I don't know if I've told this on the show before, but you had to conduct the Star Spangled Banner, and the superintendent was there, and the principal and the band, and so someone went up before me, and then like when you have the upbeat, which is instruments up to your face, and then you take a breath, and as your hand comes down, that's when the first note comes, right? So I do instruments up, I do the and as I'm coming down for the first note, someone yells Sasquatch in the back, and I didn't become in front of everyone, and then I had to continue to conduct. Like I had to continue. I had to do the fuck, and I was just like, "When the fuck is this shit gonna fuck?" It's what I feel like. I still have repeat feelings when I go on a red carpet, and everyone's like, "Can I have your name?" Do you ever do that when you go on the red carpet and they're like,
I do. What am I even here for? Yeah,
I know.
That moment. But then you're like, you know what? That's the way it goes. But did people? I mean, they pick on you for whatever they can.
Right.
And I was smart and fat. So there's 2 things. So knock yourself out with it. You're very tall. So there's that. But did anyone ever go? She's 9 feet tall, but she's really pretty. Did they say that?
Nope.
No, because I'm sitting here looking. I was like, "You're really pretty." I'm thinking, are you allowed to say that? To a lady anymore? No, it's also. I look at stuff now. It's fun. Oh, since losing weight, so I went up for an ex-boyfriend part as opposed to the guy in the bell tower.
Wow.
Usually when I have to go do an audition for something, it's kind of like, fat guy number 3. Right. But so this was kind of, I didn't get it, but I nailed it. It was really good, and it was fun to be asked to do something other than would do that. But
like, hey, I'm fat. Talk to you later. Bye. Like every fucking.
I played fat.
I played. Hey, I'm tall and I'm really funny. Bye. That was every fucking show I ever did.
Wait, what was the last sitcom I saw you on? Because we were like, it's Judy. I got so excited.
Murphy Brown.
Oh, I was so happy to see you on Murphy Brown.
I played an ICE officer. And of course, then they cancel it, and I'm like, oh God, I just want a residual check. I just want a residual check,
I still get my $12 from Cougar Town.
Oh yeah,
I did one
I get shit.
I get on Cougar Town, and it made me very happy.
What about like SVU? I get like 17 cents. I just did one and one Law and Order. All right.
Oh, how fun!
So you graduate from the journalism school.
Yeah, I went to I was a Medildo. That's what they called the
Really?
School of Journalism, Medildo. And all my friends were
How did
not
you do in that school? Like, were you?
My writing was really good. My current events couldn't have been worse.
Right.
And I didn't, because now at least I'm up on stuff.
Right,
It, kind of.
Right.
But I used to not pay any attention to anything other than the arts and leisure section. I was the total ridiculous person. But yeah, I did all right. And I have to tell you, this is a bad thing to tell young people, but the night before the Law and Ethics of Journalism class, final, I went to see Pee Wee Herman in concert because the Pee Wee's Playhouse didn't exist.
Right.
And I don't even think the HBO special was on yet. You know what I mean? It really was like early on. He was on Letterman once in a while.
Right.
And so we decided to go to that. And I don't remember anything about the class, but I can tell you almost his entire act. It's like,
really?
Yeah. So it was the right choice. I got a D in that class. It was the only really bad grade I ever got.
I got a D in accounting. And my father was an attorney and a tax and a CPA. And I was like, I can't fucking do accounting. All right. Yeah. So you then work for the Detroit Free Press. Is that correct?
You want to know what?
How'd you get that job?
I saw it. I took the first job that was offered, which was in Fort Collins, Colorado, which is the hotbed of flat earthers.
Right.
Does that tell you everything you need to know?
Oh my God.
I hated it so much.
How long were you there?
9 months.
So it wasn't like you left and were like, I'm going to New York. It was like
I was like, they kind of told us it's like basically you need to work in smaller markets and build up your resume and stuff. So I took this job.
Right.
And it was okay. They made me cry in the supply closet and I wasn't out at work or anything. And it was bad.
So that sounds fun.
It was great. But then I needed to get out of there so bad.
So you were there 9 months.
9 months. But at 6 months, I applied. I saw an ad in Editor and Publisher. This is how slow everything moved in those days. So it was an ad in Editor and Publisher looking for a fashion writer.
Oh.
For the Detroit Free Press.
Right.
And I wrote a letter, and I'll never forget, I wrote, a woman's name was Kathy O'Gorman. I'm in touch with her on Facebook. I said, Dear Kathy, I wish I could tell you I'm the person who told Norma Kamali that sweat clothes would be big someday, but I can't. But I can boast a great writing style, blah, blah. So anyway, so I got that. Long story short, I go in, they fly me into Detroit. I'm 23 years old.
Right.
And the woman sits me down and she says, if you take this job writing about fashion, they're all going to think you're gay. So how do you feel about the faggot factor of your job? That was an interview question.
She said faggot factor?
Faggot factor of your job in 1985. Okay.
And this is, by the way, listeners, height of the AIDS crisis. Go.
Yes. No, was it?
No, beginning.
We were all worried at that, getting it. Because I remember,
it was the beginning.
I remember a woman coming in, she said, I went to this restaurant. This other woman, once I got the job, she came in, she said, all the waiters there were gay. I mean, am I going to get AIDS from going there for lunch? And I said, and I looked at her and I said, did anyone hemorrhage on your entree? And she said, no. And I said, then you don't have to worry about it. Jesus. So anyway, but no, the faggot factor of the job. So, and I got this job, and I was there for 3.5 years, and then I moved to New York. I got a job doing fashion writing in New York, and suddenly I was going to collections, and I was going all over Europe for this newspaper.
That's fucking awesome.
And I'm colorblind, so it's there you go.
No way.
I am. So anyway, I was a good fashion writer, but I'm colorblind. But
like completely colorblind?
No. Like if you're in the dark, if I have trouble, like if
it's orange or yellow.
No, not so much orange. It's more like lime green, acid green, and yellow, chrome yellow look the same. And
I don't remember
evergreen
colors. That's
like an evergreen green and a deep burgundy look exactly the same. To me. That kind of thing. Okay. Until I look at them and I was like, oh wait, this is red. Jim said to me one time. I said, oh look, I was watching a rerun of Puff and Stuff, HR Puff and Stuff, and I said, oh, it's Kling and Clang, and Jim said, which one's Kling and which one's Clang? The red one or the green one? And I said, what? And he said, one is red and one is green. I said, Kling and Clang aren't matching? And he said, no, one is red and one is green.
And that's how you knew?
That's how I found out. This was like in my, I was in my late 30s at that point. So
okay. So anyway, you're traveling around Europe.
Traveling around Europe for this job at New York Newsday. And so, twice a year I would go away for like 3 or 4 weeks, 5 weeks a year.
Wait, New York, you went from
Detroit Free Press to I did the Detroit News for 3 months and that didn't work out. And then I got this job in New York. And so I did, I was at the New York Newsday, which was the tabloid, smart tabloid. Yeah, it was fun. But so I was their fashion writer. And so I would go to Paris, Milan, and London twice a year.
I fucking hate you.
And occasionally,
like in nice hotels.
Occasionally, it was good. Yeah. I came back from I went 5 weeks. It was Paris, Milan, London, Barcelona, Madrid. And
annoying.
My bill was $10,000, and it got held up for one thing. I had bought batteries, and you were supposed to take them from the supply closet.
Are you kidding?
Yes, but it ended up being fine. But everything else sailed through. But you could go, and so I got to meet Versace. I got to meet...
What?
Oh, I met them all. I met Gaultier, Versace,
Right.
Mugler, Yves Saint Laurent. That's kind of big. I've gossiped with Karl Lagerfeld. Gaultier.
Wow.
I met them all, and it was very fun. Didn't hang. I wasn't friends with anybody, but it was really fun. Versace was the nicest to me, I have to say, and it broke my heart.
I know, that's horrible.
But he was really sweet, and he was funny, and he was one of the first. When I was watching that assassination of Gianni Versace, American Crime Story, and it was weird because he had come out to me in an interview,
right?
And I don't even know if we ran it because at the time it was controversial to sort of do that. But I wrote about it in his obituary because I said that we were sitting there, and he said I was talking to my boyfriend Antonio,
right?
And he went on, and he was very funny,
right,
and dishy,
fucking waste,
yeah. And smart, and he was really, and he was, and he helped me with my first book because he spoke to Elton John on my behalf. So
no way.
So I got to use a song lyric as the epigram, whatever the first thing is. I don't never remember which the word is, but the opening quote in the book. I used extensive Elton John song.
Wow.
And he got that for me, and so I have my fax with the Rocket Records, saying please feel free to use this and good luck in your your endeavors and blah blah blah. So yeah, so that was,
is that where you met Bob Mackie?
How did I meet Bob? Recovering Fashion.
Right.
That was how I did it.
Yeah.
And then
that article you just wrote about him.
Thank you. Yeah, I did a big story in the New York Times style section.
Right.
3,000. Okay, you never get assigned 3,000 words anymore. Nobody.
Oh, I know. That's a lot. I was like, wow, this is long.
I said, how long do you want me to go? She said, I don't know, 3,000 words. And I swallowed my tongue because you're counting by the word for how much they're going to pay.
Right.
You. So, it was good. So
that's awesome.
Don't forget to tune in next week to Just Kill Me Now.
It's Just Kill Me.
Oh. Don't forget to turn for part 2 on Just Kill Me.
No, it's not. It's
Just Kill Me.
No.
Judy Gold's Just Kill Me.
Just
Kill Me Now.